Hey, AnnaSophia, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm
Hello,
perfect.
Colombia.
Hey, that's the spirit. That's AnnaSophia. That's a very Latin name. I actually have three friends called AnnaSophia.
Do you? You're the
Yes?
first. That's amazing. But nobody in America has my name. I swear. It's either mostly. It sounds mostly like a Latin name. Anna Sophia.
Yeah, AnnaSophia. No, and that sounded like a little
That was
Italian.
Italian.
This is the first time we talk, and it's nice to see you, bro, because we all saw you start as a child actor in commercials and then familiar movies, but this is a very serious and mature role.
Yes, I play the assistant district attorney. I'm a prosecutor, and I based on it's based on a real character, Michelle Schugart, and she prosecuted Dr. Duntsch, put him in jail.
It's very common to see a book adapted to the screen, but this one is adapted from a podcast.
Yeah, a very scary podcast. So the original, it's called Dr. Death. If anybody wants to listen or is familiar with the podcast, it goes into uh, the case of Dr. Dunch and how he's a neurosurgeon in Dallas, Texas, and he operated on patients and ended up maiming or killing many of them. And and he was just passed from hospital to hospital because the hospitals didn't really want to deal with the extent of what he had done, nor could they quite prove it. But Dr. Henderson and Dr. Kirby, two other neurosurgeons, they went after him. They were whistleblowers, and then they brought my character in to prosecute him. So the criminal justice system gets involved, and he ends up, he was tried and convicted, and now he is serving life in prison.
This is what nightmares are made of.
It's more terrifying because we put our faith in doctors and hospitals, and you go and you think, oh, I'll go in and I'll be cured. And in this case, many people came out worse off than they were before or dead. And it's terrifying.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's like exactly like you said, it's your worst nightmare.
I think it's going to be scarier than the podcast because one thing is listening to it and the other one is watching it.
Even if you have listened to the podcast, there's so much information there. And then you get to watch all of these characters interact and come to life on screen. And the story really delves into what made Christopher Duntsch, how he became who he became, why, how he got so far. And then it also, the timeline sort of, uh, there's different timelines that interweave, and it's a fun journey how it's all um, mesh together. It's like a little mystery, little ball of mystery that we're slowly unweaving.
Did you met the real Michelle Sugar?
I did. I didn't get to meet her in person until after the show came out because of COVID, but we spoke on FaceTime, and I was able to ask her all of my all of my questions and pick her brain about the case and everything she went through and why she wanted to be a prosecutor in the first place, and all of those fun sort of invasive questions that you get to ask as an actor.
There's a quote from her that I like. She said, I could be very nice to you, even invite you a coffee, but I will still put you in prison.
Yeah, it was one of my favorite things she told me. So has manner. She's very kind, but she knows how to do her job, and she is concerned with justice and what's the appropriate amount of justice and getting justice for the victims. Um, but she always treats everyone with kindness and respect. So yeah, I can be nice to you and still put you in prison. And it's just such a great kind of sums her up.
Yeah, it's a story that I know a lot of people is going to be happy and scared to see. Um, Obviously, your character is like the main character of this story because finally you're the one who prosecuted this guy. But you're working with great and talented actors like Joshua Jackson, like Christian Slater, Alec Baldwin.
They're tremendous guys. I was so intimidated before I started working. And I was definitely nervous, but as soon as I got on set and I met Alec and Christian, they're so lovely, so collaborative, so much fun.
So sorry I'm late. Good to see you again. We met briefly. Well, we didn't meet, but I was in the room when you came to our office a little while back. Michelle Schugert.
A little while back, that was months. You're our lead.
Like I said, I get it. You're disappointed. I'm probably a little too young, maybe a little too woman for your liking.
Neither is true,
But-
Ms. Shugart, please.
Thank you.
And Josh, I knew previously from Little Fires Everywhere, but he is so transformative in this role. I mean, he's just the most empathetic, hilarious, generous guy. And as Dr. Duntsch, he's terrifying. People will know him from Dawson's Creek and The Affair and all of his work. This is like no other character he's played before. So I'm really proud of him.
I need to get this under control.
Yes, doctor, you need to get this under control. Perhaps we bring in vascular.
What's vascular going to do when you
Naval
can't
assistance
get the
stuff.
blood pressure under control?
It's not an issue with the blood pressure.
Well, why don't we start there, shall we?
You scare easily?
Yes, I do.
So this is the one for you.
But it's also what hooked me is that I couldn't stop listening to the podcast or reading the scripts as they came out because I couldn't believe what I was hearing.
You had like to read some lawyer stuff because I guess these guys had to be like on a hospital or around doctors.
Yeah, my boyfriend is a lawyer, so anytime I had legal questions, I'd ask him or one of his friends from law school.
It's good to have a lawyer in the family.
Yeah, right. I did have to learn some neuroscience though, because during the trial,
Oh,
I direct examine all of the victims. And so in order to do that, I really needed to know what I was talking about. So I was constantly Googling and trying to figure out where different spinal, what S5, L1, what all of those terms mean.
someone like Michelle also have to go into the mind of that kind of character, right?
Her job was really to piece the case together so that the jury could understand. It's not really about understanding Duntsch. I mean, for the audience and the story, it's that aspect, but her job was to build the best case possible that would win the jury over.
I know it's going to be a blast and it's going to scare the hell out of me. I'm sure about that. And I promise you, I will listen to the podcast.
Okay, yes.
I will do that. Nice
Okay.
meeting you. It's
Thank
nice meeting you.
you, Alvaro.
AnnaSophia. Now I have 4 friends called AnnaSophia.
Love that.
Have a great day.
You too. Thanks so much, Alvaro.